right, welcome back to Leafs fans in hostile lands. I'm your host,
Joe
Gilbert
Exotic?
Gottfried. Is that his name?
He
What's
sounds like
his
the
name?
Tiger
The guy.
King.
Oh, that's funny. I just finished watching that. That's so funny. What's the guy? Guilford Godfrey. What's his name?
Gilbert.
Gilbert.
Godfrey.
I'm thinking this is some serious Harry Potter stuff. Gilbert Godfrey doing the cameo of Kachuk's media conference. Did you guys hear that?
No, wait, what?
Oh, it's so funny. You got to listen to it. It was on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, and Steve Dangle podcast. And then it's obviously up forever. Kachuk reacting in the media after Brendan Lemieux bid him just goes off a huge rant, and somebody paid on Cameo for Gilbert Gottfried to read it. And it's so funny. And my impression of him was so bad. I should have just done Iago or something, which is probably closer in my brain. But by the way, welcome back to the podcast that talks about hockey and not Disney. We are basically a quarter of the way through the season. Some, yes, some almost there. Yeah. So we're going to recap our early predictions that definitely meant nothing. And oh my God, they are all bad. They are so bad. We're going to recap them, see if we stand by them, or if we're going to change or I don't know.
No changes. You have to stand behind every.
I'd like to change all,
every
Bob.
pick that you had.
They're so bad. They're so bad.
We were so
but
optimistic.
I love how we go back, we listen to it, and it's like, why did we say that into a microphone? That's every week, though.
Well, we had loose reasons for some of them, but the rest are just like, they're bad.
Yeah.
They're really bad.
Oh, I'm going to try to remember some of the stuff we said, too, because also hilarious based on the context of what's going on. Let's just give everyone some context to start off. Overall, the Washington Capitals are leading the league with 33 points, and the Leafs are tied with 33 points, but the Caps have one game in hand, so that's really exciting. Bottom of the league, no surprise, Ottawa. Oh, God, I picked them to do some good things. Good Lord, good Lord. And a couple other teams down there that are not doing so hot. In terms of the divisions, the Leafs are in first for the Atlantic Division right now. The Caps are in first. The Wild are in first. And the Flames are in first. So let's see how we did, first of all, with the division winners. Craig picked Tampa, Washington, Vegas, and Colorado.
Now, I actually did say Minnesota first. And you went, really?
Yes.
Yeah, you did say Minnesota.
Then I'm like, no, actually, no, yeah, Colorado.
It.
That makes sense. But yeah, so it is Minnesota right now, eh?
It is. 29 points in 21 games. Colorado in fourth with 23 points, but they've only played 18 games. And does anyone know why that is? Is that just a scheduling, or do they have an outbreak? I can't remember.
I don't think they had any delays. They did have some outbreaks, but I don't think they had delays. I think it's just one of those things that they haven't played as many games as the other teams. Now, they are one of the hottest teams right now. They had a terrible start, but I think they're 8-1-2 or something in their last 10.
7-2-1, yeah.
Oh, okay.
7-2-1, yeah.
Good thing the Leafs get to play him tomorrow.
Oh, they slipped by a game, yeah.
Not exciting there.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
It'll be a real Stanley Cup
excited to see that.
option there, correct?
Kadri is going to be the one to watch in that game. He's, I think, fifth in the league in points or something. And it's in a contract year, so he's going to be a UFA at the end of this year.
We're going to get to Kadri later. That'll be an interesting contract for sure.
I've got
Craig,
something in mind.
Tampa, or are you switching to the Leafs? Dan and I picked the Leafs. Are you going to come over to the light side?
Tampa has also been playing really well. They're, I think, the third best team in the last 10 in the NHL. I still think the Leafs are going to win the division. I think the unless something goes terribly wrong, they will. But I'm going to stand behind Tampa still has a chance to win this division.
Okay. If the playoffs started today, the Atlantic would be the Leafs against the Penguins, which would be a very interesting matchup. When was the last time the Leafs played the Penguins in the playoffs? Very interesting.
Yeah, except the last two times we've played the Penguins, it's been a shit show.
Jesus. Yeah, I do not want to run into Tristan Jarry the way he is right now.
I'll take last year's playoffs, Tristan Jarry, please and thank you.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Just ignore the season he's having this year.
For the Metro, Craig picked Washington. They are on a tear. Very good. Dan picked Pittsburgh. You want to stand behind that one, Dan, or?
I was kind of thinking they might have a bit of a year this year. Crosby was injured at the start of the season, so that kind of brought them back a little bit. I'm going to stick with Pittsburgh, but it's not a confident stick with Pittsburgh. It's more just, I said it, I'm going to stand by it. My next one I might waver.
And I picked Philly. Oh, boy. What a great pick there, Kyle. Second last in the Metro. I did say there would be a resurgence of Carter Hart, and I was right about that. He is playing really, really well, but everything in front of him is not playing quite as well. 8-4 through 20 games. They're currently on a 6-game losing streak. The only people on more of a losing streak right now are the Islanders, and I made an interesting pick for them too. Good Lord. Is that the Pacific? That's the Pacific. Craig and I picked Vegas. Craig, you want to stick with that one?
They still can win the division. What we didn't expect was them to have their top 5 forwards all be out at the same time with injuries. They still have a good team, and Leonard is still having a great season, but they just don't have their top players. So once they all come back, and when Eichel finally comes to the team, hopefully around March, they might just go on a tear. Then they still have a chance to win that division. They're not that far behind.
Yeah. Calgary currently in the lead in the Pacific, and I think I want to switch to them. I want to switch to Calgary. Markstrom is nuts. He has so many shutouts.
He's having a great season.
This was the Calgary we expected last year. At the beginning of last year, when we
5 shutouts.
When we first started this podcast, we were all saying that Calgary was going to be the team in the Northern Division that we were going to have to really fight against. And then they just kind of leafed it. But I think this is actually the Calgary team that we were talking about last year.
Yep, I agree with you, Craig. I like that you threw in leafed it too. I'm just going to say fizzled.
But
what's
the big difference in Calgary other than Blake Coleman and Daryl Sutter?
Not being in COVID.
Like, it looks like Markstrom.
I'm wondering if it's not being in a bubble in the Atlantic Division, not being in COVID protocols, not having all the restrictions. Maybe it was harder on some people than it was on others, and maybe it hit the Calgary Flames pretty hard because there was that big conversation last year about how the team wasn't getting along with Matthew Tkachuk, and they were just kind of done with his crap. That's the kind of thing when you can't see people and you're just like the only people you're seeing is your team. Sometimes you get sick of their crap. And maybe this year things are just better in the dressing room.
Which is interesting because
less crazy travel.
Daryl Sutter seems to have like a really tight ship and is like a take no shit kind of guy. So if that makes the dressing room tighter,
go
for it. I'm going to backtrack just 1 second back to the Metro. I pick Philly. I'm going to make that change. And I'm going to say Carolina, one of the hottest starts in the league.
Safe bet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's safe bet for me. And I think they're going to go quite far as well. Dan, do you remember who you picked for the Pacific?
I listened to it again this morning and I was like, oh man, that was optimistic. But I wanted to see one of those Vegas starts from Seattle, and it just did not come about. I think they're second last in the division or last. I can't remember. They in Vegas keep flip-flopping. So yeah, not my strongest pick. I was hoping for a little start of franchise magic, and we didn't see it.
I said, oh yeah, they've got some great goaltending. Group hour. What a guy. Nope. He was held up by that Colorado defense last year and doesn't have that going on this year. So, okay. So do you have a change for us, Dan?
I do. So I'm actually going to change to Edmonton for the McDrysaddle, and I think that's probably what's going to take them far. I can't go Calgary because of in-law issues, I'll say.
Issues.
But I'll, Edmonton's second in the division. I'll
find out on our next podcast, the therapy session with Daniel Britton on his issues with his in-laws.
Hey, Dan, can you get your in-laws to get us some Calgary playoff tickets?
Yeah, I could actually, if that's something you wanted to do.
And they didn't want to come on the podcast last year because Calgary sucked. I wonder if they want to come on this year because Calgary's good.
Well, my father-in-law is going to be visiting over Christmas, so I'll see if we do a Christmas
works.
episode, then I'll get him to come on.
Okay, on to the Central. We all picked Colorado. Pretty easy pick for that. Minnesota Wild in first. The Blues still being a contending team in second right now. Winnipeg holding on to third, then Colorado. But second to fifth, even sixth, very tight. There are only 3 points between them. Craig, changing, keeping?
Well, Colorado is finally picking it up again. I think they will win the division. But it's good to feel right that it was going to be Minnesota at this point. It was good to kind of switch, just like the season's going to do.
So that's a yes? Switch?
No, it's going to switch from Minnesota to Colorado, just like I did.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Okay. Dan, switching from the Avalanche?
No, I'm going to stick with the Avalanche. I mean, they've got a solid built team. They're right at the top. They're not at the top of the division, but they're pretty close on the heels. I'm going to stick with them.
Yeah, me too. McKinnon's coming back against
Kadri.
Kadri. And Kadri, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I always like to see when players leave the AHL team of the Maple Leafs and move on to their final NHL team and then do really well. It's just nice to see
When they
that
finally
happen.
crack the NHL with their second team.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. The Hymans, the Kadris.
usually win a
It's
cup.
nice to see that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they go on to win a cup.
Bozak,
And life
Tuukka
was grand.
Rask, Anton Strawman.
Gunnarsson, yeah, Shen.
We don't speak
Jen
of Rask
won,
here.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question we had for our predictions was unexpected team to make the playoffs. Craig and Dan both saying Vancouver. Now, I will say, I also mentioned, well, I put Vancouver as a definite make for the playoffs, so not unexpected there, you freaking idiot.
Well, I feel a little bit better then.
Yeah. Gents, Dan, you going to stick with Vancouver on this one?
Nope. I'm gonna switch from Vancouver. They're struggling to say the least. I think we talked last week about how something's gonna change, whether on the ice or in the office, and they're a terrible team right now, so they have to make something happen. I don't see them making the playoffs. If I was going to pick a surprise team to make it at this point, maybe. Okay, this is a little risky, but I'm gonna say Chicago.
What?
I'm gonna say that they're gonna have an end of season rebound from the turmoil that they've had at the start. So I think they're going to rally around, everything that's happened with
Fleury's
their
going
team
to win a double Vezina.
and come back and make the playoffs. No, I'm not saying they're going to win nobody's winning anything. I just think they're going to make the playoffs.
Fleury's going to have to win another Vezina if they're going to make the playoffs.
If they're going to make the playoffs, that's fair.
How much money are we putting on this? Because I need some more.
Hey, look, the title's unexpected team to make the playoff. Vancouver clearly is not the good one to pick.
Craig, Vancouver sticking with it?
No, unless they make a big change right now, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think my unexpected team in the West to make it is going to be the LA Kings. Because they look like a pretty good team. They're not that far out.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a shot. I think that's going to be my unexpected team at this point. In the East, New Jersey. They just signed Jack Hughes to a new contract. So obviously they're feeling pretty good about what they've got on the ice. I would really like to see them, make that second wild card spot. I think they really have a shot.
Interesting. I picked LA and Ottawa.
You did.
Good Lord.
I laughed. when I listened
They
to that
have
this morning. That was
9
great.
points. Now, they've only played 19 games, and they did have an actual COVID outbreak where they had to postpone games.
Now,
They've got problems.
they played 19 games, but they only had a goalie for like 3 of them.
Yep.
So, they only got...
And to be fair, the Islanders have played 17.
Yeah.
So they've played less games and they have more
Yep.
points. And they're on an 8-game losing streak.
Might do a little capital corner later on Ottawa, but definitely not going to keep with that pick. LA. I think I'm going to switch LA to Anaheim. maybe not unexpected at this point in the year, but definitely unexpected from the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah.
Their young guys are really starting to show. Zegras is awesome. Drysdale is getting up there. And Gibson actually has some help in front of him now. So he's, showing back up as a real Vezina candidate for his team. For the East, pass. Just going to go Anaheim. Just going to go with one for this. Not push my luck there. And also the Pacific is kind of the weaker division. So anyway, there's some spots up for grabs, especially with Vegas having an interesting start to their year and definitely points wise. So let's get to that unexpected team to not make the playoffs. Craig said Pittsburgh, Dan said Boston, and I said Florida and Washington. Another solid foot in the mouth moment for Kyle.
Definitely unexpected to miss the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I think they could stop playing now and still be close.
Probably. So I'm going to make some changes. I don't know what yet. So Craig, Pittsburgh not making the playoffs or...
Nope, not going to make the playoffs. Ron Hextall is going to sell off at some point at the trade deadline. At some point they're going to have to, and I think this is going to be the year. They're going to be sellers. They're going to start a retool, maybe say, and they're going to move on.
Oh, I thought this was sarcastic. No, that you're serious.
No, I'm
about
serious.
This.
Yeah, no,
okay,
actually, seriously.
The wild card holding Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be sellers. Interesting. Okay.
Looking at their team, do they think that they can go to the Stanley Cup final? If not, maybe sell off some things this year and get it. Because it seems like it's going to be a pretty deep draft this year.
Well, the Rangers did that too. Like they were going to the conference finals each year. They made it to the Stanley Cup final, and then they told their fans, "We're going to go through a rebuild because we don't think our team can, like you said, win a Stanley Cup. We can almost get there, but we want to win." And they actually look really good this year too.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Dan, Boston, they still not making the playoffs?
Yes, they are still not going to make the playoffs. That's my pick so far.
Love it.
They're having a decent home season. Their away season's a little bit to be desired.
Love it.
I think right now, I'm comfortable where they are right now in the standings. They're fifth in the conference, in the division. So, that's my unexpected not to make the playoffs. 100%.
I think I'm going to have to switch my unexpected to the Arizona Coyotes. Really think they were going to make it? No. Vegas. I'm going to go with Vegas. I think that they are just going to get slumpy dumpy maybe. This is a shot in the dark. This doesn't make any sense.
They're going to get Eichel. And they're going to
Florida
explode.
and Washington definitely doesn't make sense. Which is nuts. I don't know if you guys have looked at the overall standings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Top 4 teams in the league are in the East. And then the 5th team is the West. And I think a couple days ago, it was the 6th or 7th team was the first team in the West overall on that list.
Take a look at the bottom of the conference as well, or the league. How many of the bottom 10 are from the East?
True. So of the bottom 4, 3 are in the East.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's very possible that the East is stealing points from the West every time they play them. But
that's true. I'm kind of happy. Like, not that I'm cheering for Buffalo, but I'm kind of happy with where Buffalo is, given their end of season last year. They're ahead of Ottawa. They're ahead of Montreal. They're pulling something out.
But is that a good thing for Buffalo, really, especially with Craig
really.
saying this is a deeper draft? And
honestly, I think at this point, they don't have scouts. So what is the draft going to do? Honestly, at this point, just getting some wins and getting confidence is the best thing that the Buffalo Sabres can be doing.
Maybe they can get that mid-range pick.
Because honestly, Kevin Adams is just going to go up to the stage with a set of cue cards and shuffle the deck and go, "This one."
Need Brendan Shanahan to get up there. That's interesting. Out of the NHL, we had a question about the gold medal winner of the Olympics, which is not looking great at this point, considering some new news about the current pandemic. But let's not be Debbie Downers right now. Let's think positive. Hope that it all works out. Any changes on who might be winning the gold medal at the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm going to change. So a lot of mine was kind of based around goaltending and Price coming off his season last year. I thought, great addition. Price isn't doing so hot. So I'm going to probably switch to USA. They've got a stronger, younger team. And if goaltending is less of a factor, then I'm going to switch to US.
Craig, you going to do some switching or no?
Unfortunately, I still think it's going to be the US. But I do think it's going to be Jack Campbell leading them to gold. So I can cheer for that.
Ooh.
Can
that
you
would be
imagine?
Sexy.
Do you actually think that, or are you just hoping for that?
It's going to be a tandem of John Gibson and Jack Campbell.
You think Hellebuck's going to be third?
Nah, screw him.
Oh, my God.
This is my reality.
Like, if Campbell's not in the conversation, like, something's wrong with that team.
Yeah, like it's a list of 55, so
That's
you can
fair,
have
yeah.
9 goalies on your list.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, speaking of the Olympics, who do we think the Canadian goalie might be, if not Price? Dan, what do you who do you think now?
God, I mean, like, who do you pick at this point?
Binnington?
Who's
Okay, let
left
me give you a
that's-
couple options. There's Binnington. He's on quite a run right now. Carter Hart. He was World Junior goalie as well as World Championship. I think he's done that. Darcy Kemper, speaking of which, was the World Championship last year with Canada. Marc-Andre Fleury, obviously, for that.
Yeah.
Craig, did you have another one?
No, just Binnington.
I was going to go with
He's at
Binnington
the top
after
of my
looking at
list.
stats. Yeah, that's who I would go with too.
He's your starter.
Okay.
I think then you'll probably see Hart and maybe Kemper because they're Team Canada guys.
Mhm.
It's really kind of a toss-up because none of the Canadian goalies other than Binnington are really running away with the season right now.
Yep.
Yeah, or playing as many games.
Is Jari Canadian or is he American?
Sorry, good question. He is Canadian. Surrey, BC.
Okay. He could be in the
Maybe
conversation.
that would definitely, he's definitely going to be in the conversation.
He's a hot goalie right now, but if he wasn't included in the 55 and originally, then they can't
He's-
do so. I don't know how that
Again,
works.
they can have. I don't know if they need to pick defensemen, forwards, goalies, or if they can just do 55 because really you've got your 15 forwards that are on your list. You don't really need to put 3 times that or whatever, and you just load up with the positions that you don't really know, like goalies. They could have had 30 goalies. Every Canadian goalie in the AHL could have been on the 55, which would have been the smart thing to do.
Very true. Very true. Do I want to change mine? So I've been checking out some of the, projected rosters of Sweden, Finland, even like Czech Republic or Switzerland and stuff. Like some of these teams have some really, really good NHL players
Oh yeah.
and could come out of nowhere. Like Finland, especially. Like, obviously, their goaltending
Mhm.
is going to be amazing with UC Saros in there and potentially even Tuukka Rask backing up. and just some of those lines are nuts. I don't have it in front of me right now, but it's not going to be an easy road for the win for USA or Canada. So I think
No.
if the NHL players are going to continue to go to the Olympics, it's going to be must-watch hockey.
Like just talking about goalies going around the other teams, like Russia's got Vasilevsky. Instantly,
Yeah.
they're going to be a contender for the gold.
And Bobrovsky
And
and
Bobrovsky.
Samsonov and
God.
Shesterkin.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Shesterkin, of course.
Who would be sweet? Who's Sweden's starting goalie this year? For so
Markstrom.
long. Oh yeah, okay. That's a pretty good start.
That's a good
Do
start.
you think we see a final that's not USA Canada?
Depends on
Maybe just
goaltending.
based on goalies.
Such a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hard to say.
Okay, we'll do a longer conversation about that another day, I think.
Yeah, get
Where
closer
we
to the
dive in
Olympics.
a little bit deeper.
Maybe
Yeah,
when we get
maybe,
the 21-man roster, 23 or whatever it is, then we'll
Yeah.
dissect.
Oh, we got to do a prediction. We got to do predictions, though. Gotta.
All right.
And make a bet, obviously. Of course. It's all about betting.
Let's make a team with 30.
That's where most of my income comes from.
Last one for predictions. Stanley Cup winner. Craig picked Tampa, Dan picked Vegas, and I picked the New York Islanders. What another good one from Kyle.
Yes.
Yay.
On point there, Kyle.
All right. Give me a second to rethink my life decisions and my pick. Dan, sticking with Vegas or
No, I am gonna change. I'm gonna change to Toronto. I mean, I want the win.
He said
I'm
it.
sorry.
They're gonna lose now. It's over.
Yeah, I
They're
know,
gonna lose now.
and that's why I didn't want to say it. But
All right, so thank
what
you
I'm
for
doing.
listening to the podcast this week. I'm Craig Shaw with Kyle Nurse, and have a great rest of the year because we're done with this podcast.
and from henceforth,
all over.
It's a duo.
It's all your fault, Dan. Okay,
No,
go.
I mean,
what?
like,
What?
hey, and I said this last year, of course, but we look good, and we have goaltending, and we have defense, and we have offense, which we knew we have, but to
And
see
we have
those
bunting.
other two components, and we have bunting.
We've got
and we
Bunting
have
and
Richie.
Kasha.
Don't forget Richie. Come on, let's put
Okay,
Richie on the pedestal.
Richie has done some good things this week.
Right, this week.
I know.
Anyway,
Mr. Positivity over here.
yeah, I am going to say Toronto with hope, but also it does stand to some kind of logic.
Okay. Craig, sticking with Tampa.
Yeah, they still have a shot, but I think it's probably going to be Carolina.
That is also
and that's going to break my
mine.
heart
why.
because Frederick Anderson's going to win a cup.
There you go. There we
Oh.
go. That's what we were looking for.
Yeah.
You know what? No, I'm not going to say Carolina. I don't think they are a playoff team, which is really, really important. I'm going to say, for the first time in their franchise history, Florida Panthers.
Ooh, well,
I'm going to say Florida because Bobrovsky is having a year. They have a solid backup in Spencer Knight, who's shown up when they need to. They've added a significant amount of grit over the years. They've got some proven veterans with Huberdeau and Barkov. I think they're more built for the playoffs now and can maybe take out Tampa along the way. I will notice, though, that we all picked Eastern Conference teams.
no. makes
Which,
sense.
again, we
don't
mentioned
watch the
before.
West.
Well, we
Yeah,
don't
that's
watch the
too
West.
late at night, guys.
But also, it seems like we don't have any faith in the West right now. And it was, in years past that the West was way better than the
For
East.
a long time.
Yeah. And now it's maybe taken a little bit of a flip here. And the coolest thing I think about the West is that it's Calgary Edmonton on top.
Yeah,
That we
I like
actually
that
have
too.
some
Yeah.
Canadian teams
Jets aren't far
making-
behind.
making some waves. You're right. Yeah, Jets not far behind. California quite far from the picture because I'm just biased, but if there's no snow in your state, you shouldn't have a freaking hockey team.
How did they even have rinks?
I don't know. They've even have it outdoor games.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, don't forget to comment on our posts and let us know which of our predictions are totally wrong because we know some of them are going to be, that's for sure. But let's get back to the Toronto Maple Leafs. They had, 3 games this week in California.
Yep.
We had a solid win against the Sharks, followed by a solid win against the Kings. Oh, opposite. Solid win against the Kings, solid win against the Sharks, and then solid win against the Ducks. Concluding November with the most Leafs wins in a month in
Woohoo.
franchise history. That's so freaking cool. Well done, guys. Currently on a 4-game winning streak, about to finish their 5-game winning streak before an obvious loss, which has been the trend.
But
And-
they have been doing the trend that I think I was mentioning this a few episodes ago. Before it would be win 5 games, lose 5 games. Now at least it's only been win 5 games, lose 1 game spectacularly, and then win 5 games.
That's a nice trend. A nice trend. Also, along the California swing, they outscored their opponents 18-4,
Oh, I love it.
which is the best, especially the 4. The 18 makes sense, but the 4 is so awesome, especially because Jack Campbell only played 2 of those games, and
Yeah.
Joseph Wall got 1 of them and only had 1 goal scored on him. It was a bad goal, but he shut the door after that, had some serious saves going on, and we end up with a 7-game win streak on the road, which we're about to go back to again after the Avalanche game on Wednesday. We got another back-to-back Wild and Jets Saturday, Sunday on the road. What did you guys think about Goalifornia, if you want to call it? Start off with Dan.
I mean, it was beautiful. I don't really have that much negative. I have nothing negative to say. Everything was clicking. The only thing I would like to see more of is goals from Matthews, because he's the superstar, and he's making a lot of great plays. Don't get me wrong; he's still contributing his weight. He's just not getting all those goals that we are used to seeing from him. But the rest of the team is sticking up for it. Like, the depth on the team is ridiculous. I mentioned defense on the team is fantastic right now. Riley seems really pumped about his new contract, and he's playing really well to show for it. And it's, maybe he's lifting up the rest of the D to his level right now, but it's fantastic. And Kyle, as you mentioned, I mean, Wool has been fantastic, and Campbell has been even better. So I really have no complaints.
Greg, do you have complaints?
Not right. Well, Kasha's injured. There's that. I'll complain about that. There's the salary cap. I can complain about that, but I won't, because things are going really well. They've won 4 in a row. Why would I complain? Joseph Wall has a shutout this season. Jack Campbell's leading the league in goals against average and save percentage, and wins, I believe. So yeah, what is there to complain about?
Nothing, except Keefe is complaining. What the fuck?
There are things to complain about.
There are aspects of each individual period to complain about, but that's
absolutely
really
the Leafs are playing well. They are winning games, but Keefe demands perfection, because that is what's going to get you through the first round.
But isn't that what we said, though, at the start of the season, that like he has to be the bad guy that they're all working against to try and prove him wrong? Like, if the tough love thing is what's working for the Leafs, I say keep it going, because it is certainly working. And we maybe not for us, it wouldn't work for a motivational kind of method, but it's certainly working for the Leafs. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it seems like that is what these guys need, because think of the other great seasons that they had. Was when they had Lou Lamoriello as their GM. They went from a team that was bottom in the league. They brought these guys up with some structure, with a little bit of discipline, and they cracked into the playoffs where no one expected them to. That actually brings me back, when he's talking about discipline, there was something that I read recently. Remember at the beginning of the season, the Leafs relaxed their dress code to a so-called business casual?
Yep.
The team sat down at one point and said, "We're playing terrible. We need to get back together. First thing, no more distractions. Let's get rid of this dress code, suit and ties, guys, back to normal." They've gone 13 for 15 since they had that team meeting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just it's just that little thing saying that, we're a team, we're not the individuals. It seems to be working. Constant vigilance.
Constant vigilance. Be afraid of everything.
It's 2021. I've learned that.
Well, yeah, you can't go outside these days.
I'm about to go on a rant. I think Keefe is going to be the next Babcock.
Really?
I think the players are going to start to resent him. And I think the fans will eventually resent him after shit comes out that he's an asshole. Because how can you not praise this team the way they have played? 2 goals against the Kings, 1 goal against the Sharks, 1 goal against the Ducks, no goal against the Islanders. Like, what? Are you insane?
Jack Campbell has been bailing them out a lot.
Well, I don't know about that. He's had some amazing saves.
And even that Anaheim game, they gave up a lot of good chances, a lot of rushes going into the zone against them.
Especially at the end.
But only at the end. Only at the end. They played 2 solid periods, and they shut down everything that Anaheim had to throw at them, which is going to happen.
Toronto played 3 great periods against Montreal in Game 5 to lock it down, and they fell apart in the end of the third. Things can happen. He wants them to play 60 solid minutes. I understand it. I understand that he is demanding perfection of this team, because at this point they are so good that they can't be anything but the top of the division and be owning these teams every night. And by getting that into their heads, I think it's only going to create a better team at the end of the season.
But you're not going to create that with constant negativity. You
Scotty
have
Bowman
to
did.
give them
A lot of coaches do. A lot of.
But maybe
I-
it's not taken as negativity. Maybe it's taken as, for lack of a better term, stuff to work on, because they know they're a good team. They know that things
Motivation.
are working right now.
Yeah.
And motivation, yeah. Like, as Craig mentioned, the dress code stuff. They went back to basics, back to what has worked. Well, not what has worked, but what has been done for generations. And maybe that's what they need from their coach right now. Just what has been working as a coach for generations. Like, look at the Detroit Babcock days. Like, maybe something like that. You kind of said that, Kyle, but it's working. So I'm not gonna be upset about
But
it right now.
I don't put that on Keefe. I think I put it on the team. I think the dress code thing worked because it was a team choice. It wasn't a Keefe saying, you need to do this. And that's all he's saying. He's being so nitpicky, which I think is good sometimes. But at this point, like, come on. This team is so good. Give credit where credit is due and push with positivity instead of only pushing with negativity. Oh, they only played for 59 minutes at 1 minute. They're just not going to get it in the F-bomb, 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 F-bomb.
But then they have 1 minute to work on.
But why point it out? They know that. The players know they need to work on that. They don't need to be told. Maybe they're not being told. Maybe this is just a media thing.
You've got Twitter to pump up your ego. You've got your coach to make you a better player.
And to be fair,
But you're not listening to Twitter.
Oh, sure they are.
But
you
it's
think
but
those
they
guys
know
are-
it doesn't
Media.
matter. They know it doesn't matter. The voice that matters is the coach, and the coach is constantly putting you down. What's the point? You're
That's
not going
just-
to
but
want
again,
to play
that's
for
just
this
what we
guy.
see.
Okay.
We-
And to
we
be fair,
see-
I feel like social media would do a lot of putting down on the Leafs anyway. So
Yeah, I don't think they're
going to
get
everywhere.
good things from social media.
Not a lot.
We see 12 minutes a week from Sheldon Keefe. We don't see the other 24 times 7 hours.
But we saw in the documentary kind
Right.
of a glimpse of the way that he is.
Again, that's just the way that it's put together.
Fine,
I
but
bet you if I took 9 months of footage of you, Kyle, and put it together, I can make you look like an asshole. You're not.
He can make you look like a nice
You
guy.
can make it look
easily.
like that, though.
okay, fair. But it seems like the Amazon documentary lines up with the person that he is on the bench and in the media. It seems like they line up. Like they're like, yes, I'm sure they trimmed a bunch of stuff, and seeing that Keefe is complimenting a player is not necessarily good TV. But Babcock, I bet you we could say all the same things about Babcock. Always pushing the team. He's really focusing on the things that they need to work on. But behind the scenes, he was a dick. And the players didn't like him and they didn't play for him.
Those things did come out in the day-to-day. Like, big pressure moment down by 1 and you don't play your stars. You're a dick.
Okay.
You
Less
have
of that
two
is
players
happening
who
with
can,
Keefe.
who want to play together and can do it. He won't listen to anybody because he's the smartest guy in the room. I don't see Keefe as that guy. I could be wrong. I haven't heard, Dubas has worked with him a long time. Clearly he sees
yeah.
something. I believe in Dubas because a lot of people everyone I hear from, in the hockey sphere just can do nothing but praise Kyle Dubas and the kind of person that he is. And if I can't see him bringing in an asshole to the team. I see him bringing in a tough love drill sergeant, but not necessarily an asshole.
Now, just flipping that, Shanahan brought in Babcock, and I don't think Shanahan has poor judgment.
Yeah, but there's also history there too. So it's kind
That's
of the
what I
same
mean.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of the same thing. You still keep your circle around you that you've played with or worked with throughout the whole thing. So Dubas keeping Keefe isn't really that surprising.
I'm not saying it's surprising. I'm just saying that was a bad call by Shanahan. Is it possible this is a bad call by Dubas? Because, even though they're buddies, or they've worked together for a long time. Is Keefe the right guy to coach? Or
how about I flip this one more
I
time?
think we can
Will
only answer
Shanahan
this in
make that
May.
mistake twice?
I sure hope.
Yeah.
I see now. I think Shanahan's a smart enough guy that he would have seen that the first time and not make that mistake twice.
Okay. I'm mildly convinced, especially when you said Kyle Dubas, but I still
the
have
Kyle
my
part,
reservations.
isn't it?
Yeah,
You
it was
just heard Kyle and went with
yeah.
it.
It's like, oh yeah, I like him. We have the same glasses. I don't have as many cardigans, but
It's
same
like that.
glasses.
That nurse guy in basketball, kind of like him too.
Oh, there's so many nurses now. It's like we're coming out of the ashes. Podcast and hockey and basketball and all. Okay. To be continued with Keefe, but I don't know. It just gets on my nerves a little bit when he talks smack about the team that's playing so well. Talk smack about the team that's playing poorly, but when they're doing well, come on. Unless he doesn't give shade to Jack Campbell.
Let's reserve judgment on him until May.
We're talking about Sheldon Keefe right now. We're not talking about the players. Maybe this is exactly what he wants.
Hey, that's a good point.
The media
Keep
is
it off
writing
Marner and
articles
Matthews and
about
Nylander.
him and not writing articles about the guys.
It was a trap the whole time.
Every once in a while, you need to give your guys a break and, get Steve Simmons to do, make another clickbait.
We got caught in the media trap, guys.
We did.
It's a trap.
Yep.
It's a
Yep,
tarp.
there we go. It's a tarp.
We've got it covered. It's a tarp.
And if you're an Ottawa fan, you'll probably know that reference because that was on a CBC show.
Oh, nice.
Life and
I didn't
Times
get
of the Canadian Tire Center. What happened to those seats? It's a tarp.
Which is still continuing, right?
Oh, that's the best. That is the best. Okay, last thing about the Leafs. We did our predictions and stuff at the quarter mark of the year. What is our general review of the Maple Leafs at this point? Let's start off with the forwards. Good, bad, what we expected, not what we expected. Dan.
This is what I expected. They are playing up to my expectations right now. As I said, I would love to see Matthews with a few more goals, but he's got 10. He's doing really well. I just wanted to see him with like 14, 15, 16 right now. But, I have nothing bad to say about the forwards right now. They are living completely up to expectations as they should be at this point with the amount of money we've put into them.
Great.
Honestly, not what I expected in a number of different ways. I remember going into the season, looking at this lineup, looking at the players they brought in and going, I just don't see it. I just don't see enough for them to do well. And a couple of different things. A, the depth has been playing great. Like that line of Kampf and Kasha are just playing fantastic. And I couldn't ask for more about that. I seen them going, there's a guy that has been injured for 2 seasons and the guy that scored 1 goal. What do you expect? The other thing I didn't expect is Austin Matthews only to have 9 goals. I would expect he would be lighting it up going into this point of the season. And to see that the other 3 are doing so well as well, like Tavares has been having a great season. Nylander this is his best year yet. And Marner has really just been starting to pick it up again the last 10, 15 games, really since they started to really win. But I was expecting Matthews to be doing more. But it's great that the rest of the team has really picked it up and to take over that scoring, so he hasn't had to lead the team and drag them through like he did last year.
Yeah, I agree with what Craig said. Not expected from the Leafs. I expected kind of that superstar firepower from the top 4 there, but they're playing a different game now. And I think that's stemming from that third line that you were talking about. Again, unexpected because we hadn't seen Kampf, Kasha together. Engvall, unexpected. I think his play is much better than what it is on the score sheet.
That's been good.
He's doing okay. I hate to talk about Richie all the time. Obviously, unexpected that he sucks. But
was it
like Positivity Man over here said, this road swing was quite good, and we started to see more of his role, being out front, super screening because he's a massive guy, getting into the corners a little more. He still seems like a blob going up the ice, and with his decision making, I'm still not convinced. But he does have a bit more of a purpose now. So I kind of like where that's going.
The power play guy.
You remember how excited we were for him when the Leafs signed him? Like, we did a good 15 minutes on the podcast about Richie alone.
Like a positive version of it.
Oh, yeah.
Power play, Craig.
I was going to say Nick Ritchie's the power play guy. Don't make him skate. Just make him stand in front of the net. And if it hits him or hits the goalie, he's got good hands. Bang it in.
I dig that. I just want to see more grit from him.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what he was brought in for. He's doing too much Freddie Gauthier for me. Back to Craig. Defense. What do you think about the Leafs defense?
I think it's gone back to what we saw last season. For the first 10 games or so, it looked like a different defense, even though it was the same group of guys. But this year, during this winning streak, they look like the same defense that we were expecting. Morgan Riley is, not putting up a ton of points, but quietly is having a great year. He doesn't seem like the same defensive liability that we've seen in the past. TJ Brody seems like his normal invisible self again, and that's great. And to see that the good rotation of Dermott, Liljegren, and Hall, it seems to be working. You've got these guys, see what they can do, and give these guys a bit of a rest so they're not having to play 82 games, because it is a lot on a defenseman. And for those younger guys, just let them rotate.
Yep. I'm going to say I really agree with Craig. The one pleasant surprise for me has been Sandin. He wasn't my favorite at the start of the season, and I think he's been playing really well. I love watching him with the puck. He gets a little over exuberant sometimes and goes for it, but who doesn't want to score a goal? But overall, the defense is playing really well. I think they're doing a really good job so Campbell's been bailing them out a lot of chances in front of the net, and when he can't get the rebound, the defense is quick to get on that. So it's working.
Other than Kampf and Kasha, the third line being awesome, my next most excited thing I am about this team, or at least this new team, is Sandin and Liljegren and how well they have been playing. Especially Liljegren. Like, thank God he is turning out to be an excellent defenseman. I think he can rise into that second line role as well. The only thing I'm worried about with the defense is Muzzin and Hall. They still don't look like them for their former selves, especially Muzzin. I would like him to take a night off. We mentioned that before, but I think he deserves a little bit of rest. I doubt he would like it. I doubt he agrees. But that third line, so good. And with that, I think Dermott or Hall will still be moved for cap reasons. I just checked out the defense on the Marlies. I think half a dozen of these names could fill in on the third line and allow Sandin and or Liljegren to move up.
Especially on the right side. Like, they just signed Menel, right? Like, they traded for him as an RFA and signed him. Clearly, they want to see what he can do. So he could be
Brennan Menel,
another guy that they can rotate in. Like, there's no reason just because they trade a guy, they can continue a rotation.
Yep. Unfortunately, not waivers exempt, so that's a bit of a problem for him.
But
Joseph Duzak, though.
10 games, right?
True.
Because he has been waived.
Different player we haven't heard of too many times before. Joseph Duzak is waiver exempt, so that's cool. Supposedly he's been lighting it up in the Marlies. I'd be happy to have him. Philip Kral, he's been talk of the town. And then some of our younger guys, maybe not quite ready, but Villanova, I think he was on one of the Finnish World Juniors. And Kivihami, I think he's potentially ready to get some action too. I think, third line defense is where you can juggle a little bit. So I don't know. Dermott, Hall, their time might be up here. Lastly, the goalies. We've got Campbell, our lovely, lovely Campbell. We've got the ever-injured Mrazek. We've got Joseph Wall, and we've got Hutchinson. Craig, what do you have to say about the goalies quarter of the way through the season?
Well, the one thing is that we've been talking about expectations so much. And the one guy that's been meeting expectations more than anybody has been Peter Mrazek.
Oh. I was not expecting that.
Kyle's fist pumping in the background.
It's like, can't wait for him to talk about Jack. Oh, yeah. And then
that's funny.
Peter Mrazek. Oh,
Well,
you're also correct.
Yeah, we were expecting Peter Mrazek to be injured this season, just not as gloriously as he has been. But yes, Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell, we can't say enough good things. The thing I loved listening to, I think it was the LA game. LA? Anaheim. One of the games. They were cheering Soup in California.
Yes.
for him.
Oh, that's awesome.
I
missed
loved that. That was great. Just knowing that this entire fandom has embraced him. If there's one person saying bad things about him, fire him into the sun. Because there's nothing bad to say about Jack Campbell.
Ever. Daniel.
You know, so my unexpected with the goalies is actually going to be Campbell, but it's that he's doing so well. I kind of thought at the end of the season last year, like he had a great opener at the end of, or in the last season. I think 11 games he went without a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really worried that that was going to be like, do you remember when Giguère went really, really deep in the playoffs and maybe even they won? I can't remember. But
Well,
then
they didn't win,
season,
but he won the Conn Smythe.
Right. Okay. He won Conn Smythe. And then he was terrible ever since.
Yep.
I was a little bit worried we were going to see like a really good Jack Campbell run. And then we were back to juggling goalies, whoever's healthy, whoever's going to be somebody in net to place there. So the puck maybe doesn't roll over. But so he's unexpectedly doing fantastically well. But it's also, I like Mrazek. He didn't have a great couple first games, but that was also the start of their kind of slump. And he's been injured, of course. But having Wall, I know he's only played 3 games, but he's a solid goalie. He looks good. He's making really technical saves, really good saves. Having goaltending that I'm not constantly worried who's going to be in net that night, but then are they going to be up to the challenge is a really refreshing quarter mark of the season for me for goalies.
You haven't had to ask lately, oh God, do we need to play Hutch?
Right. Exactly.
That's the feeling.
Yeah, or the feeling of when the defense pinches and lets the 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 or 4-on-1 or whatever it is coming down on the goalie. I'm not clenching my butt, to just get angry at the goal that's about to be scored. It's okay because we have goalie in the net.
Sorry, I want to talk about something you were saying there, Dan. About Campbell, about last season, how good he was and what you were expecting this season. He has looked better this season, not just statistically,
Absolutely.
but
But yes.
the one thing last year is he would always fight for those saves. This year, he hasn't had to fight for the saves. He's been, seems like he's more square. He's letting the puck come to him. He just seems like a whole new goalie. He's a whole new Jack, and I love it.
So good. So good. 5D chess, Kyle Dubas. Do you think he signed Peter Mrazek knowing he's an injury-prone goalie so that he would purposely go on LTIR often?
You nailed it, Kyle.
Get our new Nathan Horton.
Yes, or just the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yep, that's exactly what's happened. He's like, get me a guy with like just a mild to medium groin injury and just let me have him on the team.
Like, it's not a terrible idea.
It's
Maybe
not.
not for
Tampa's
a
doing
goalie, but it's
If you get good
it's-
games out of him while he's healthy, then sure. If you don't, sure.
Okay, play 2, then I'm going to kick out your legs from under you.
Everything you guys said was awesome. Unexpected for me, Joseph Wall. I'm so glad he's getting a look, and I'm so glad he's doing well. I just want to see more from Peter Mrazek. I've always liked him. He's really fun to watch. I want to see him thrive as a Leaf. So I hope he comes back here soon. I think it's almost been 4 weeks. So I want to see him play, and I think Jack Campbell is going to, they're going to have a great time together, just like Joseph Wall is. And then if Wall or whatever goes down to the AHL, I think he'll light it up still there too, and he'll come up when needed because Mrazek and or Campbell are definitely going to get injured again because that's just how it goes. Okay, last thing about the Leafs. Do you think they have shown playoff habits during their quarter season so far, Craig?
For good stretches, I would say that they have been. For other stretches, I would say they have not been. Lately, they definitely, for the most part, they have. I think the biggest thing is the getting in front of the net, driving the net hard. That's where they've been scoring a lot of goals. That is a playoff habit they've been doing really well. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I can't think of any ones that aren't. So yes, yeah, they have been.
Okay, great.
So I'm only going to add one negative, and that's playing a full 60 minutes, and that was, you could kind of see it in the Anaheim game, where they just stopped playing in the last period, second part of the second period too, and we haven't seen that happen much in the last 10 games, obviously, because we're on a bit of a tear. But I think if that's one of the habits that they fall back into, that would be the one that worries me the most. If we see that they slow down midway through a game and just let it go a little bit.
It's also the end of a long road trip.
It is,
Number
yeah,
3
that's
game
fair.
in California,
and they were up, so
yeah,
you know, they've
play
got
defense.
a little bit of leeway. Yeah, exactly. Fair enough.
I'm more worried about Minnesota and the Jets because they come back home for one from California to their normal time zone, and then they go back a time zone to Minnesota and Winnipeg. So I'm more worried about the fatigue in that series. I think they're full playoff habits, and I don't know what Keith is talking about. I think this team is awesome. I think they can win a playoff round. I think they can beat any team that hits them in the first round, even Tampa. That would be so cool, but I definitely want it to be Boston because, come on, that'd be the best. Okay, we're at an hour. Nazem Kadri is having an awesome season. Let's talk about his potential contract next time. Jack Hughes just signed 8x8 contract extension. I kind of want to talk about that next time too because it seems like a lot. Jack Hughes, I don't know if he's proven himself yet. I think he's good, but I think he
He's also
capitalized.
injured the first half of the season.
We had a couple suspensions. That was exciting. Big whoop. Craig, you got a bet for us. Oh, Dan won. Yay!
Yeah.
Carolina still has the best points percentage. Washington was creeping up, but neither of us picked Washington, so Dan gets a double win. Very exciting. Now Craig has a new bet for us. Go for it, Craig.
Okay, so we've got 3 games this week. So we've got Colorado at home, then off to Minnesota, and then Winnipeg. How many goals against will there be this week against the Leafs? Closest,
Ooh,
not Price is Right rules. Closest.
Oh my God! Stop it!
Yeah,
Stop it with that.
yeah.
Okay, who gets to
This
go
is my
first?
game, my
That's
rules.
You're
You
not
don't like it,
wrong.
I'm going to turn this car right around and go straight home.
You would do that, Dad.
And I'm going to play show tunes all the way home.
I would like that.
Yeah, it's not the worst.
I'm a musical nerd.
Exactly. I'm not that terrible of a parent. I want to give you something nice on the way home. Dan, you get to go first since you were the winner last week. Wait, should be the opposite.
Okay, so I'm definitely worried about Minnesota, and I'm gonna say 3 goals. I'm gonna say
That's it?
Yep, I'm gonna say that we got 1 with no goals, and then 1 and 1, or 1 and 2. Sorry, I maybe not in that order, but I think we're only gonna see 3. I think our goaltending is feeling good right now. The Campbell Wall tandem can maybe get through it.
Do I get to go next?
Yes, you do.
I'm going to go 5. 2, 2, and 1.
I was also going to say 5, so I will be the spoil and say 4. Oh, no. Makes me that's a lot harder.
Yeah.
I'll say
but
6.
If Kyle,
No, shit. I believe in this team. I'm going with 2.
oh,
2 and the
snap.
under. Yep.
2 feels better than
You really
6.
believe in this team.
A shutout 1 and 1 or a shutout?
Oh,
Sorry,
God.
2 shutouts and 2?
Wouldn't that be
Nope,
amazing?
I'll go with 4. I'll stick with 4.
See, I was trying not to say the word.
again.
I'll
guys.
stick with
come
4.
on, Craig.
I believe in this
Awesome.
team, just not necessarily that much.
Yeah, not that
You
much.
mean statistical goal scoring?
Okay, thank you for listening this week. We had a great time reviewing some of our terrible predictions, maybe updating them. We'll check in again on these at the halfway point of the year. maybe just before the Olympic break or just after. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media, especially now, because we have a fun contest coming up soon where you can win some prizes, some of our little merch, and maybe something a little bit bigger. So we will probably announce that next week. Is that a good idea, boys?
Yeah, I like it.
So we'll announce next week. We'll have a fun little post about it, and it'll last maybe a couple weeks where you can enter, and we'll see who wins the Leafs fans and Hostile Lands prize. Is it going to be a Leafs fan? Is it going to be a Hostile Lands fan? Is it going to be a bot? Nobody knows.
Will it be a Pittsburgh fan?
Stay tuned. Awesome. You guys good?
I'm good.
Yeah.
And 1, 2, 3. Go, Leafs, go. You can top that one, Craig?
No, actually, I had something, but it's not as good as that. Go Leafs, go. Is Ilya Mikheyev ever coming back?